focusing on winning arguments, we're teaching the basic fundamentals of sales and marketing and how we can use them to win in the world of politics, teaching you how to meet people where they're at on the issues they care about. Welcome to The Brian Nichols Show.
Well, happy Wednesday there, folks. Brian Nichols here on The Brian Nichols Show. Happy Wednesday. Yes, we made it halfway through the week, and tomorrow is the last day of the month. If you are in the world of sales, well, then you know, just like me, tomorrow is not only the last day of the month, it's the last day of the quarter. So to all of you sales pros and entrepreneurs, business owners out there, tomorrow being the last day of the month and of quarter, good luck to you. And to you, the audience here at The Brian Nichols Show, well, thank you for joining us. I am, as always, your humble host. And first, before we dig into today's episode, which I'm going to outline not only why it's okay for you to step away from politics, but when for you to identify when it's time to maybe take a little bit of a break. But first, we're going to go ahead and give a shout out to today's sponsor, and that is the Expat Money Show. Head over to briannicholsshow.com/expat, where you can go ahead and not only find the Expat Money Summit, which is going to be taking place November 7th through November 11th, but also you can check out the Expat Money Podcast. Why? Because you want to be able to be sure to protect the money you work so hard to earn from those ambulance-chasing lawyers, nefarious creditors, and greedy, unjust governments. Join our friend Mikhail Thorup because he helps people just like you invest internationally, secure second passports and residencies, eliminate your tax bill, and take advantage of offshore structures so you can travel the world freely and never have to worry about money again. One more time, briannicholsshow.com/expat. All right, folks. Well, with that being said, yes, on to today's episode, you and me, one-on-one. And I want to talk about not only when it's time to step away from politics for a little bit, but why it's okay. Because I think we see this quite a bit. Folks they'll get a little scared when they're considering what life would be like outside of who they are politically. Reason being is because too often, if we look at the greater liberty movement, a lot of folks have really made themselves part not just of the political identity, but that's become who they are in their entirety. And I think it's important for us to not only be able to take a step back and really focus on the things that matter. That's the things that we can look around, see, touch, feel in our own real lives, but also to separate ourselves from sometimes the very intense emotional attachments that come with our political positions, our principles, our morals, our values. And I don't know about you, I turn on social media right now and I just get exhausted. I'm so tired of looking at the conversation right now because when you talk about an issue like Roe v. Wade, it's almost impossible to see folks enter into the conversation without having some type of emotional predisposition towards the topic. Now, I personally am pro-life. I've said that from the very beginning of here on the Brian Nichols Show. But I'm not going out of my way emotionally, championing the fact that my team won, because that's not how winners win. But to the contrary, and I'm not calling those who are pro-choice losers in this case by any stretch of the imagination, but in the case of the folks who didn't win in this ruling, I don't think it's a great response to then in turn just look at everybody else who disagrees with you as just bad people. I don't know about you. I've scrolled through social media and I've seen if you don't support me 100% of my values, well, then unfriend me, unfollow me. That's exhausting. And frankly, it doesn't really show us a way to have a real tangible relationship outside of these political conversations. It doesn't show us how to be human with one another. It's exhausting to be able to try and figure out how to engage in conversations with folks who are overtly not looking for conversation, but rather folks who are just looking to be emotionally upset, emotionally engaged. I don't know what it is, but I think it's time for us to focus on the fact that not only is it important, but it's also okay to take a step away from politics sometime. Now, that's not saying that here we're going to step away from politics here at the Brian Nichols Show, but for folks out there who are maybe a little burnt out, well, first, why is it okay? Because you're burnt out. It's tough to separate your political self from your individual self. And sometimes we get too far down the road in terms of, well, what is it that I actually focus on as my most important things? So if you want to get grounded again, figure out what really matters, I recommend take a social media hiatus. Get off of the internet first and foremost. Why? Because online is where we're finding most of the toxicity really spreading. But number two, it's going to let you to really spend time getting back in touch with the things that matter. Get up early, go for a walk, meditate, go to the gym, read a book, just do something different, something that's going to give you more value than spending time scrolling through social media just getting upset. And when it's time to walk away, well, right there, when you're scrolling through social media and you're getting upset, that's the win. Because if you're ever online and you find yourself consistently getting mad at people that you've never met, then I think you might be a little too far and a little over your head. And I've been there. It's okay. We've all been there. I think, I dare say I've been there many times. And it's important when you find yourself in that position to take a step away. Most of my social media, frankly, is automated. So if we're really, peeking behind the curtain here, a lot of the posts you see are me putting automations in place. So I'm able to continue producing content while also being able to live my life and focus on the things that are important to me. It's bettering my sales career. It's bettering my professional life. It's bettering my personal life. It's bettering myself physically, but also trying to be a more well-rounded person. So there are so many things that you can do, and frankly, that I've been trying to do also to get better at being the better version of yourself. And frankly, it's more important than really focusing on these political solutions. And we talked about this in episodes past, where far too many folks, especially in the greater liberty movement, they're not exactly exemplary individuals when it comes to their professional or personal lives. As a matter of fact, in many cases, they're quite lacking in those areas, which is why they gravitate towards the Libertarian Party or liberty-based politics, because it's a small pond. And frankly, it gave them a chance to be a somewhat larger fish in that incredibly, incredibly isolated and small pond. And that's why we've seen pushback, frankly, with the past few years of more folks coming to the liberty movement who aren't your traditional small fish, small ponders. And that right there has been pushing a lot of people to get, frankly, emotionally invested far beyond they ever were in the past. But now the political selves have become their only selves. So when is it time to step away? And why is it okay to step away? Well, when you're getting angry. And why? Because you're getting angry. And because, frankly, you deserve the opportunity to take a step back and focus on you. Focus on the things that matter. Focus on yourself. And really try to better yourself. It's very easy to go out of your way and find things to get mad at in this world. I find, especially when I'm tired, I didn't get enough sleep, and I look at social media, I can get very upset very quickly. And that's not healthy. So I'm going to challenge you as we go towards the month of July. If you've found yourself just getting frustrated on social media, exhausted, and maybe it's politics in general, let's do this together. Take a little bit of a step away. Look at your screen time on your phone. Figure out how much time you're spending on your phone. I promise you the numbers will mortify you, but figure that out, right? And let's focus on July, making that a little bit better. And focus, and then my challenge for you, beyond removing yourself from politics a little bit, but let's focus, and we'll reconvene, if you will, at the end of next month. What's one thing you can add to what you're doing every single day throughout the month of July to make you better as we wrap up July? We talk about how to eat the elephant one bite at a time. So if we can eat that elephant one bite at a time in terms of trying to better yourself, find that one thing that you've been like, man, that'd be great if I could do this. Go ahead and do it. And start incremental steps, one bite at a time, one step at a time, to accomplishing that goal. I promise you, by the end of July, you will thank yourself for taking that time to invest in yourself. And I promise you, you will find great results as well. And with that being said, folks, it's a short episode for today. And as we wrap up, I know some of you folks out there do partake in the alcohols. Yours truly, I have personally stopped drinking. But if there was a wine for me to recommend, it would be the Blood of Tyrants wine, which right here you can see at the very bottom, it says, "The tree of liberty must be watered from time to time with the blood of tyrants," famous quote from Thomas Jefferson. And you can go ahead and grab your Blood of Tyrants wine. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead. And by the way, for our YouTube watcher, thank you for joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and also that little notification bell. And if you've enjoyed the episode, please go ahead and give us a little comments. And if you had questions, by the way, or things you want to hear us talk about in the Brian Nichols Show, reply below here in the comments. And if you're over on the audio version, email me, brian@briannicholsshow.com. But here, I'm going to go ahead and share over on the YouTubes here. Go ahead and check it out. The Blood of Tyrants wine. It is, by the way, it's a libertarian company. So you're not only getting great wine, but you're also supporting fellow libertarians. Our good friend Dan Berman. This is one of his brainchilds here. And not only is it officially the spirit of 1776, but if you are using code TBNS at checkout, you're going to get a special discount at checkout as well. So please go ahead and support this amazing company, Blood of Tyrants wine. Again, it's something that I personally am not partaking of anymore, but if I did, I'm telling you, I would partake of Blood of Tyrants wine. Use code TBNS at checkout. That's all I have for you, folks. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. And by the way, did you check out our episode earlier this week where we had on the program Paul Bradley? He talked about getting paid in crypto. You can have your company, your business actually go ahead and start paying you in Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum right now using his company GetHedge.io. I will include that link for our YouTube listener watcher right here in the video. Just click the video below. And again, for you audio listener, go ahead and check out the website. Click the podcast artwork there on your podcast catcher. It'll bring you to briannicholsshow.com, where you can find today's episode, including the video version of the program over on YouTube. And again, if you have not yet hit subscribe, please go ahead and do so. And when you do, make sure you hit that little notification bell. Follow me over on social media at @BNicholsLiberty, Twitter and Facebook. We got the fun memes. Also, head over and check out the awesome website that is Sell Liberty over on Facebook, where we're teaching you how to go ahead and more effectively sell the ideas of liberty. And our good friend Jeremy Todd, he's doing some great things there. Looking forward to the new season, by the way, of Sell Liberty, joining us very, very soon. But with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and see you over at our conversation back on Monday with Paul Bradley right here below. But otherwise, thank you for joining us on today's episode. With that being said, it's Brian Nichols signing off for The Brian Nichols Show. We'll see you tomorrow.
For listening to The Brian Nichols Show. Find more episodes at briannicholsshow.com.